Never listen to anyone who isn't a master artist. Art isn't a democracy. It's not up for public approval, and it's definitely not meant to be filtered through the opinions of people who've never suffered for it. The truth is, unless someone is a master artist, someone who's actually gone to war with their own soul in the process of creating, then their opinion about your art means absolutely nothing. Most people criticize what they don't understand. They project their own fears, insecurities, and failures onto your work because they've never had the courage to express themselves fully. When someone says, "You should do this differently," what they're really saying is, "I could never do that, and it makes me uncomfortable that you can." A true master artist would never speak that way. They know what it costs to create something real, to stare at a blank canvas or an empty page and pull something sacred from nothing. A master understands that art is a personal journey, and no one can walk that road for you. That's why a real artist won't offer you unsolicited advice. They respect the sacredness of your process. They understand that every word, every note, every brushstroke is an expression of your inner world, not theirs. Because the truth is, when you start letting other people's voices into your head, you weaken your own. You begin to create for them instead of you. You start second-guessing your instincts. And the moment you do that, your art loses its purity. Technical advice has its place, but only if it aligns with your vision. If someone tries to tell you what message to send, what emotion to feel, or how your art should look, that's not guidance, that's manipulation. You have the right to say no. You have the right to protect your creative integrity. Even among masters, there's an unspoken rule. You don't touch another artist's work unless you're invited in. True creators understand that each person's expression is unique, a reflection of their experiences, pain, and truth. To interfere without being asked is to violate that sacred space. Mastery isn't about imitation. It's not about playing by someone else's rules. It's about courage. It's about listening to that quiet, inner voice that tells you, this is what needs to exist. Sometimes it doesn't make sense to anyone else, and that's the point. Because your art isn't supposed to be understood by everyone. It's supposed to speak to those who feel it. The world is full of critics who've never created anything of their own. They sit on the sidelines judging the game they're too afraid to play. But even when a true master offers advice, remember, you're not obligated to take it. You can listen, absorb, and reflect. But the final decision must always come from you. Only you know what your art is meant to become. Your work is an extension of your soul. It doesn't belong to the masses, the market, or the algorithm. It's yours. Protect it. Defend it. Be ruthless about maintaining your authenticity. Because the moment you start bending for approval, you lose the power that made you unique in the first place. The greatest artists throughout history weren't the ones who followed advice. They were the ones who ignored it. They were mocked, misunderstood, even ostracized. But they stayed true to their inner compass. They didn't wait for permission to create. They created anyway. That's what made them timeless. So next time someone tries to critique you, ask yourself, are they a master artist? Have they lived through the fire of creation? Have they known what it's like to put their heart on display for the world to tear apart? If not, their opinion doesn't belong in your studio, your lyrics, or your mind. And even if they are a master, remember, you are one in the making. You don't need validation to create something powerful. You only need truth. Because real art doesn't come from consensus, it comes from conviction. When you stop listening to everyone else and start trusting yourself, That's when you begin to awaken. That's when your art becomes eternal. So if this message resonates with you, if you're an artist fighting to stay true to your vision, hit that like button, subscribe to Artist Awakening, and drop a comment below about how you've learned to trust your own creative voice. This movement is about freeing artists from external influence, reclaiming their authenticity, and elevating their craft from the inside out. And if you haven't already, watch the other videos in this series. We go deep into the reality of artistic mastery, the pain behind the process, and the truth about what it means to create something real in a world full of fakes. Keep creating from within. Keep your art sacred. And remember, no one knows your vision but you.